Today I'd like to introduce the movie 12 Years a Slave. The film was directed by Steve McQueen, who is the Black British director, and the film is based on the true story of Solomon Northup, who was a New York State born free African American man kidnapped in Washington, D.C., and sold into slavery. Northup was then put to work on the plantations in the state of Louisiana for 12 years before being released. Actually, the film is the adaptation of the 1853 slave narrative memoir of 12 Years a Slave by Solomon Northup. As everybody knows, 12 Years a Slave won Academy. The catch here is the Best Picture win made Steve McQueen the first black director to ever receive the award. Chiwetel Ejiofor stars the main character Solomon Northup, and a lot of great actors such as Michael Fassbender, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Brad Pitt are all featured in supporting roles. Despite this all-star cast, 12 Years a Slave utilizes its big-name cast to the perfect degree. The actors themselves never overshadow their characters, but simply add to the richness of the story. More importantly, the way Steve McQueen conveys a story and the performance of Ejiofor touches you quietly yet so deeply. While it handles the sensitive issue of slavery, it just focused on relating the real story of Solomon Northup and the hardship of slaves. In doing so, the film is quite brutal and uncomfortably real. However, 12 Years a Slave offers a raw account of events without sensationalizing and dramatizing them, nor inserting the audience by diluting them. In addition, Ejiofor successfully expressed the dehumanization of Northup, and his glossy eyes revealed much more about his internal and external degradation than any words could tell. Then there can be a question regarding historical backgrounds in 1840s. Thanks to the film's realistic depictions of slavery, we can learn a lot of historical facts from the movie. First, 1840s was the time when America was divided into two parts, which were northern free states in which slavery was prohibited or being legally phased out, and southern slave states were where the practice of slavery was legal. This difference resulted from the different key industries of each part. The southern part's main industry was agriculture such as cotton and sugarcane, as we can see in the film, while the one in northern part was manufacturing. Different stances on slavery between northerners and southerners can be seen by the white laborer Bass, Brad Pitt. The character Bass also revealed the different social status even among the white people, especially various white men of lower social standing who were paid by white masters to labor alongside slaves, but still, masters cannot abuse them like black slaves. Secondly, the film starkly and powerfully unveiled the enslavement, how white masters treated the black slaves by two different characters, William Ford and Edwin Epps. Although they are very different characters, both read the Bible to the slaves. At that time, white used an interpretation of Christianity to justify their ownership of slaves. They believed the Bible sanctioned slavery, and that it was their Christian duty to preach the scriptures to their slaves. Based on this wrong interpretation, white masters think of slaves worse than a brute and as their own possessions. Therefore, enslaved people commonly had trees of scars on their backs, the result of brutal whippings they received from their masters or other people. And this film shockingly displayed the regularity of such treatment. In addition, the film also realistically depicted enslaved women's lives, especially the often brutal sexual assaults they endured at the hand of white masters. For example, Edwin Epps in the film raped Patsy. According to the film, it seemed that some of the black women who gained masters' affections were treated well and got some servants too. The interesting part of the movie was two different styles of white masters, Edwin Epps and William Ford. Ford was the master who was less vicious and sadistic than the second owner. He appreciated Northup's ability and even presented him with a violin as a gift. At first, I thought him as a good man, but as tensions mount between Solomon and a white hired hand who also works on the plantation, Ford concludes that the only way to keep Solomon safe is to resell him. In conclusion, he is nevertheless still an unrepentant slave owner who also refuses to believe Solomon, and in fact refused to even listen to him when Northup tries to convince him that he is in fact a free man and not a slave. Another interesting part is the ironical situation of slaves. To get freedom, they conform more and more to the slavery. Patsy worked almost twice as much as others, and Dorothy worked as hard as possible to open waterway for his master fort. As a reward, they got a little more freedom than other slaves, but I believe this ironical conformity still exists in modern society. 12 Years a Slave depict a dark history of slavery in high reality. The seriousness of the story is amplified by the Steve McQueen's directing and the great actors' performance. In addition, some work songs and slave-related songs such as Run Nigga Run adds to the realism of the film. It was a great chance to learn a lot of historical and cultural facts regarding black slavery in America. I definitely recommend 12 Years a Slave to people who haven't seen it yet. Thank you for watching this video.